Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Art and Outdoor Life here with John. So, here's my palette that I'm using. It's a compact palette. There's my Payne's Gray, Lemon Yellow, or Yellow Ochre. Now, these colors I'll be explaining as I put in the video. Now, I'm using a 5.5 inch by 8.5 inch sketch pad, 90 pounds. It's actually mixed media. Okay, there's my little cup of water I'll be using, and the round brush is what I use to mix the paint, and mainly I'm going to be using the fan brush for all of this with the small flat brush for wetting it down. And that was the paper that I'll be testing my paints on. Yes, and welcome back again. I really appreciate it. Okay, so yeah, I was sitting around here. I'm just wetting the paper here. I didn't even use a clip on this paper, and it didn't buckle. So I basically wetting the top half of the paper. And these little sketchbooks are awesome no matter what you're doing. They're good for, practicing on drawing, sketching, any little thing that you want to do before you go big on big paper or canvases. So here what I'm using is a mixture of blue. That would be ultramarine blue with a tiny bit of cobalt blue. It's very wet on top, and that's going to be my sky. Okay. I'm not going to be using no paper towel here. And these are really fun because, like, you could bring these to your kitchen table. You could bring them anywhere you go, these sketchbooks, okay? It doesn't say watercolor on it, but you can use them for anything, watercolor or anything. So with the fan brush here, I'm just putting in some little trees. As you notice, the water's absorbing the wet paint. That's why I didn't leave it wet on the bottom part. I didn't wet the bottom part of the paper here because I knew that the water would move the paint. And this is 90-pound paper. It's very light paper, compared to the normal 140-pound that I normally use. And I normally use a 9 by 12 sheet. So this is 8.5 by 5.5. So I'm just kind of outlining a stream here. Basically, I'm testing the waters. And that was ultramarine again. And with some Payne's Gray, I'm just kind of coming along here. Now, as you know, with the fan brushes, they don't hold much water. So you gotta dip them in water for them to carry a lot of paint. Unless you put the paint directly on the tube or on the brush. Okay. So this is going to be my stream, and I was thinking about trying this because these smaller papers, smaller sheets of paper are really, really, they can be, if you're not used to them, they could be very challenging. Okay, so I'm putting some grass line in here, kind of trying to form hills and that. And normally with this pad here, there's 30 sheets on this pad. Or 15, 15 or 30, I'm not sure. So there's a little bit of raw umber. I'm just trying to get some ground in there, some brown. And there's some yellow ochre here. Basically, I'm just trying to get the ground kind of situated, put some colors in there and that. And with the yellow ochre kind of going along that mountain range. That is a mountain range there. And just kind of testing it out here. You got to be careful you don't put on too much paint because, I mean, these are very small. If you're new at this, these are very small. So right there is where I want my waterfall to come down. I'm trying to create a waterfall, so bear with me on this. And I apologize about the video size. I thought I had it, I just press record when I start painting. I don't, and so I tried to get as much of a close-up as I can get so that you could see the pigments, the brush strokes, and that. And by zooming it in before I recorded it, it didn't turn out to be as large as my normal videos. So I apologize for that, and I will fix that. So right away, I'm just putting some white on to try to bring down and make it appear that there's a waterfall there. A small waterfall, not a huge one. And, trying to make it go off like it's coming from the mountains. Now, I had seen a lot of videos of people doing sketchbook paintings. Yes, and if you like my videos and stuff, please do like and subscribe. That helps me with my channel a lot, and as I'm trying to grow in my art. Okay, and yeah, and so with some raw umber here, I'm just really gently just trying to make some trees. Being with very little real estate here, and I'm talking about the paper size. You can't afford to lose much of the paper, right? I mean, you got to make every little bit count. And but yeah, I've watched a lot of painters do the sketchbook. People use them to sketch, and then they'll come back, and then they'll paint them. Some people paint on them on scene, on site. And there's a lot of great people doing sketchbook art. And this is watercolor, so it's even a little bit more difficult being that it is 90 pounds and it is very small. So I had to adjust all my paintbrushes. And I want to give a shout out to Joe Menza, because if you ever watch any of his videos, he's got a lot of sketchbook paintings that are just completely amazing. They blow my mind. And this is the first sketchbook video that I attempted. So, there was no, I'm just gonna put this to the side and try it later. No, a first attempt. So putting a little bit of snow on the mountains with some Chinese white watercolor, not gouache. Okay. And as you see, it's kind of, the white's blending in with the clouds. Well, we'll fix that toward the end of the video here. And I'm trying to get that stream a little darker. Now, I'm just kind of feeling it out here. The bottom is pretty much all dry except for the water from the fan brush. So it's really touchy. And with some blue and white mixture, it kind of gives it a unique kind of bluish color. And I'm just kind of putting in some dark for the grounds. And here and there, I'm just kind of fooling with it. Fooling with the colors, messing around, seeing, what's going to become of this. It's all spontaneous. No reference photo, no I didn't watch any sketchbook videos before I did this. But these are fun. I was just sitting in my living room, my front room, and, too much bad news. The TV was full of negativity, so I was like, oh, I need to, just do something. And so I just pulled out this little sketchbook, turned off the TV, and said, you know what? I'm going to make this positive day. I'm going to make something positive out of this time. So I just a couple colors and a little cup of water, a napkin, and a couple little brushes and this little pocket book, sketchbook. And, so with the blue, and as you know, I like to mix my colors on the paper. So some lemon yellow there to kind of go over the blue to create the greens. My apology about the light glare there from the overhead light. So I'm just kind of messing around here. And I'm going back over these little trees here with the fan brush. It's not necessarily a winter scene. You can make it a winter scene. You can make it a fall scene. Just simply by the colors that you add. So I thought, okay, to try to distinguish these two trees, that there are two trees there, I'd put some yellow on there to lighten up the trees and make them, green, dark green with some sunlight kind of coming down on them or whatever. And then I was like, okay, a little bit of dark green, and I'll just put a little dark green above these tree trunks, just to give the impression that, there. It is not winter time, and again, I'm doing this at the bottom there just to kind of give the idea that there's sunlight coming down and there's grass going up, I love these fan brushes, I mean, they are amazing, and, you can use the fan brushes, acrylics, and the oils. They're extremely awesome. Okay, so here, I thought I was going to make some rocks, okay? So I thought, okay, I put some raw umber there in the middle of the stream, and I'm just going to scrape it, right? Because it's wet, I can scrape it. But because everything in this, all of the paint is wet here, it's 90-pound papers, and the grain on it is not much. So it's not really soaking into the paper, And so with some white, I'm just kind of going back and forth. It looks like a mess right now, I know. That's okay. So I was like, oh, okay, let me try scraping some rocks here. I just wanted a couple in there, right? And you gotta, by the way, this sketchbook is laying flat. So the only angle it's on is the top part is on my medium hake brush. So it's not even a half inch lifted above, the table there. Okay, so basically I created dirt for my stream, but that's okay, we'll fix that. So I was thinking, okay, I'll just put a little bit burnt umber or raw umber along the sides here. Because I still want some earth in there, some brown in there. And with some cobalt blue, I believe that's cobalt blue. I could be wrong. I left the paint in the front room. I'm sitting in my studio. One rule of thumb is whenever you put white over your water or your mountains, you always got to make sure that what you're putting it over is dark, pretty dark for the most part. Not all the time, but for the most part. So that's why I went ahead and did that. And it's wet. And like I said, I wasn't using no paper towel. Now, because it's all wet, it's going to smear, okay? So you're going to get almost that fog, that steam effect, that fog effect when you put the white in. And, so I'm just trying to shape it a little better there. I mean, this is just for fun. I had a blast doing this. I'm so glad I turned off the TV. There's so much negativity going on. I just, and I just want peace, So I thought I'd try this. And, I mean, it was right under my coffee table, the sketchbook. So, I thought it came out pretty good for my first sketchbook video. And I recommend if you never tried sketchbooks before, there's a lot of different ways you can, a lot of different uses you can use them for, really valuable uses. And check out Joe Menza's on his videos. He's got a lot of really awesome sketchbooks paintings that he's done in the past. And I would recommend any of his videos, really. He's one of my big he's the very reason why I started painting. Anyways, so I'm just putting in a little bit more brown in there just to kind of separate, try to get little shapes of the hill. And at the base of the mountain there with some ultramarine blue, the base of the trees, and kind of darken it up in different spots, just to see what it would become. And you'll see how I fix these mountains here. And I'm just trying to create effects with that stream there. And thank you so much for viewing this. I really appreciate it. If you enjoy my videos and that, please hit subscribe. It don't cost nothing. And if you're new at painting, and you can always follow along.